The better you function outwardly, the sooner the internal system collapses. You're functioning perfectly right now. You finish meetings on time. You reply to emails within minutes. Your boss trusts you. Your colleagues rely on you. People around you say you're one of the most reliable people they know. So why, every single night, do you lie in bed staring at the ceiling thinking, if I keep going like this, I'm going to break? If that feeling sounds familiar, pause. You are absolutely not alone. And today, I'm going to tell you something that might change how you see yourself forever. Burnout doesn't come from weak willpower. Burnout isn't a character flaw. Burnout isn't you being lazy or ungrateful. Burnout is a protective shutdown. It's your nervous system pulling the emergency brake because it has determined that continuing at this pace is no longer survivable. Let me tell you who I am and why I'm qualified to talk about this. I'm a software engineer developing medical precision measurement devices. I design the principles and data structures behind real-time blood glucose and ketone monitors. I don't just read research papers, I build the systems that generate this data. So when I talk about the body as a system, I'm speaking from direct experience. I wear a continuous glucose monitor on my own body. I use a ketone meter daily. I've experimented with Wegovy to understand appetite regulation from the inside. And through all of this self-experimentation, I've realized something profound. The human body looks like it runs on emotions and feelings, but beneath that surface, it operates as a sophisticated data system, and burnout is that system's error message. It's not a weakness, it's information. Today, I'll walk you through 4 crucial frameworks. First, the hidden architecture of high-functioning anxiety and why successful people are often the most vulnerable. Second, the biological mechanics of burnout, specifically HRV and cortisol, and why these metrics matter more than motivation. Third, the vagus nerve, which I'll reframe as your body's built-in system reset switch. And finally, a concrete protocol for sustainable growth that doesn't require superhuman willpower. Let's start by examining high-functioning anxiety. This is a peculiar and often invisible type of anxiety that disproportionately affects successful people. From the outside, everything appears perfect. You hit your targets, you exceed expectations, you seem calm under pressure, but internally, alarms are constantly going off. There's a relentless voice saying you're not doing enough, that the other shoe is about to drop, that everyone will eventually see through you. Here's how the cycle works. You achieve something significant. For a brief moment, you feel relief, but that relief doesn't last. Almost immediately, your brain resets the baseline and establishes a higher standard. To meet that higher standard, you push harder. You sacrifice sleep. You skip meals. You cancel plans with friends. This is self-exploitation, disguised as ambition. And the cruelest part, this self-exploitation doesn't reduce the anxiety. It maintains it. You become a broken system that looks like it's working perfectly. That's the definition of high-functioning anxiety. Here's the critical bottleneck that nobody talks about. The systematic elimination of recovery mechanisms. In the pursuit of performance, we sacrifice rest time. We tell ourselves we'll rest later. We'll take that vacation eventually. We'll sleep when the project is done. But without recovery, the system never exits crisis mode. When external performance pressure increases, internal safety signals decrease. When the body perceives constant threat, it stays in permanent fight or flight mode. This leads to unrecoverable energy consumption. You're draining the battery faster than you can charge it. The problem isn't your willpower. The problem isn't your dedication. The problem is system design. And you cannot willpower your way out of a design flaw. Now let's examine the biological machinery behind all of this. There are 2 metrics you need to understand. HRV, which stands for heart rate variability, and cortisol. HRV measures the tiny time variations between consecutive heartbeats. This is not the same as heart rate. Your heart rate might be 60 beats per minute, but the time between each beat varies slightly. A healthy heart doesn't beat like a metronome. It has variability. And this variability is actually a sign of health. HRV indicates your autonomic nervous system's flexibility. Think of it as your recovery resilience score. High HRV means your body is adaptable, responsive, and capable of handling stress because it can also recover from stress. Low HRV means your body is stuck in a rigid survival mode, like a car that can accelerate but has no brakes. Cortisol is your stress hormone. In the short term, it's incredibly useful. It increases focus, sharpens alertness, mobilizes energy. Cortisol is the reason you can wake up in the morning and immediately start functioning. It's the reason you can perform under deadline pressure. The problem emerges when cortisol becomes chronically elevated, when your body thinks every day is an emergency. Cortisol stays high all the time, and chronically elevated cortisol blocks your recovery circuits. Your body literally cannot repair itself. Let me map out the complete causal chain. High-functioning anxiety triggers chronic cortisol elevation. Chronic cortisol elevation suppresses the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest system. Parasympathetic suppression causes HRV to decrease, and decreased HRV creates a state where rest doesn't actually restore you. You sleep 8 hours, but wake up exhausted. You take a vacation, but come back more tired than before. This is the biological reality of burnout. Burnout isn't an emotional collapse. Burnout is your nervous system making a calculated decision that survival is no longer possible in this operating mode. Your motivation didn't mysteriously disappear. Your nervous system pulled the emergency brake. And here's the sobering truth. HRV collapses before your conscious willpower does. Your body knows you're breaking down before your mind admits it. This is where we bring in an engineering perspective. Let's stop thinking of humans as emotional beings who happen to have bodies. Instead, consider this. Humans are adaptive systems built on a nervous system foundation. And every well-designed system has a reset switch. For the human body, that switch is the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the longest nerve in your body. It starts in your brainstem and travels down to connect your heart, lungs, and digestive organs. Most people think of the vagus nerve as the rest nerve, but that's an incomplete understanding. The vagus nerve isn't just about relaxation, it's a recovery protocol trigger. When you activate the vagus nerve, a cascade of beneficial effects begins. The parasympathetic nervous system switches on. Cortisol production gets suppressed. HRV begins to recover. And energy redistributes between your brain and body in a more balanced way. Here's the core engineering insight. The problem with high-functioning anxiety isn't that the system is broken. The problem is that the system is stuck in the ON position. It cannot turn off. But the solution isn't to force the system off. You can't just collapse into rest and expect everything to reset. The solution is an active reset. The vagus nerve provides this reset function. It's not passive meditation. It's not wishful thinking about relaxation. The vagus nerve is a bioengineering lever. You can pull it deliberately. And when you do, you're not just resting, you're rebooting your entire operating system. Finally, let's discuss what sustainable growth actually looks like. Examine the traditional strategies for growth and success. Work harder. Work longer hours, push through the discomfort, be stronger than your competition. These strategies have a fundamental flaw that makes them unsustainable. There is no recovery component. Growth without recovery is like running an engine at maximum RPM without ever changing the oil. Breakdown isn't a risk. Breakdown is a guarantee. Sustainable growth requires 3 integrated elements. First, implement HRV-based self-monitoring. Stop making decisions based on how you feel emotionally. Start making decisions based on biometric data. You can measure HRV with a smartwatch or an Oura ring or numerous other devices. Check your HRV every morning. If it's significantly lower than your personal baseline, that's not a day to push hard on challenging projects. That's a day for administrative tasks, recovery activities, in lower intensity work. This isn't laziness. This is intelligent resource allocation. This is data-driven decision-making applied to your own biology. Second, establish vagus nerve activation routines. These don't need to be complicated meditation retreats or expensive spa treatments. You need short, repeatable protocols that you can execute daily. Slow breathing is remarkably effective. Breathe in for 4 seconds, then breathe out for 8 seconds. The extended exhale is the key mechanism here because it directly stimulates vagal tone. Splashing cold water on your face activates the dive reflex, which also stimulates the vagus nerve. These small interventions take seconds, but create measurable neurological effects. They reset your system. Third, connect sleep quality with autophagy. Sleep isn't time for energy production. Sleep is system maintenance time. It's when your body repairs cellular damage, consolidates memory, and clears metabolic waste from the brain. Autophagy, the cellular self-cleaning process that activates during fasting states, enhances this maintenance function. When quality sleep and strategic fasting work together, genuine deep recovery becomes possible. Here's the structural shift you need to make. Stop thinking in terms of linear growth, where you just keep climbing higher without pause. Start thinking in terms of wave-based growth. Performance, then recovery. Another push, then another recovery period. Up, then down, then up again. This oscillating pattern is how sustainable high performance actually works. Sustainable growth isn't about having more willpower than everyone else. It's about bandwidth management. It's about understanding that your capacity fluctuates and designing your life around that reality. Don't wait until burnout forces you to stop. Don't fix the system after it crashes. Redesign the system before burnout arrives. As a single professional living alone, I know exactly what post-work exhaustion feels like. I know the temptation of late-night snacks. I know how routines collapse after a hard week. I am not perfect. I fail at my own protocols regularly, but I've learned to trust systems over willpower. Even a 3-minute jog counts. Even one conscious breath matters. What matters isn't perfection. What matters is sustainability. Small, imperfect actions, repeated consistently, beat ambitious plans executed once and abandoned. Your burnout isn't proof that you failed. It isn't evidence that you're weak. It's data. It's your system communicating with you. Learn to read that data, respect what it's telling you, and then redesign your system accordingly. You're not broken. You're not defective. You just need an upgrade to your operating system. In my next video, I'll share specific results from my own experiments with HRV-based routines and vagus nerve activation protocols. I'll show you the actual data, what worked, what didn't, and how long it took to see changes. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. If this video gave you a new perspective on burnout, please hit the like button and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you for watching. Take care of your system.